Nature is often presented as something peaceful and beautiful. Majestic mountains, endless oceans, quiet forests filled with life. But when you look a little closer, nature is not always peaceful. For many animals, life is not a calm documentary scene. It's an endless cycle of hunger, danger, stress, and bad luck. Some creatures spend their entire lives trying not to get eaten. Others are trapped in strange biological systems they can't escape. And a few animals seem like evolution designed them while having a very strange day. Let's begin underground with a creature that looks like evolution forgot to finish building it. The naked mole rat. At first glance, it doesn't look like something that should exist. Hairless, wrinkled skin, tiny eyes that barely see anything, massive yellow teeth that stick out of its mouth like tiny shovels. But these strange animals have one of the most unusual social systems in the mammal world. Naked mole rats live in enormous underground colonies that can contain hundreds of individuals. Their tunnels can stretch for several kilometers under the ground, forming a complicated maze of corridors, food chambers, sleeping areas, and waste rooms. And inside this underground city, every individual has a job. Some workers dig tunnels all day. Some gather food. Others protect the colony. But only one female is allowed to reproduce. She is the queen. Just like in an insect colony, the queen controls reproduction for the entire group. All the other females remain infertile as long as she is alive. And the queen makes sure of that. She constantly patrols the tunnels, shoving and bullying other females to maintain dominance. If another female tries to challenge her authority, the conflict can turn violent. Sometimes these fights last for days. If the queen dies, the entire colony enters chaos. Several females begin fighting to become the new ruler. Only one will eventually take the throne. But even without all this drama, daily life is exhausting. Workers spend most of their lives digging through hard soil with their enormous teeth. The air underground can become extremely low in oxygen. In fact, conditions inside their tunnels would suffocate most mammals. But naked mole rats are incredibly tolerant to low oxygen levels. They can survive in environments that would kill other animals within minutes. Still, their life is basically an endless underground shift of digging, searching for roots to eat, and maintaining tunnels. Day after day, year after year, without ever seeing sunlight. Now let's leave the underground tunnels and move to the open ocean. Meet the Portuguese man-o'-war. At first glance, it looks like a jellyfish floating peacefully on the surface of the water. But the truth is much stranger. The Portuguese man-o'-war is not actually one animal. It's a colony. Several specialized organisms live together and function as a single creature. Each part has its own job. Some parts digest food. Some reproduce. Others act as defensive weapons. And those weapons are extremely effective. Long tentacles trail beneath the surface, sometimes stretching over 30 meters. Each tentacle is covered with thousands of microscopic stinging capsules. When something touches them, these capsules fire like tiny harpoons. Venom is injected instantly. Small fish become paralyzed almost immediately. Then, the colony slowly pulls the prey toward its digestive structures. But despite its dangerous weapons, the Portuguese man-o'-war is actually quite helpless in one important way. It cannot truly swim. Instead, it relies on a gas-filled float that works like a sail. The wind pushes it across the ocean's surface. Sometimes this drifting lifestyle works perfectly, but sometimes the wind changes direction. And then thousands of these creatures are pushed toward shore. They wash up on beaches around the world, stranded on the sand, slowly drying out under the sun. Even after death, their tentacles can still deliver painful stings. So the creature that once drifted across entire oceans often ends its life as a dangerous blue balloon lying on a beach. Now let's talk about an insect that has one of the shortest adult lives in nature. The mayfly. Most of its life happens underwater. As a larva, it lives among rocks and plants in rivers and streams. Here it feeds on algae and organic debris. This stage can last months, sometimes even several years. But eventually something incredible happens. When the time is right, huge numbers of mayflies emerge from the water at the same time. They climb onto rocks or plants. Their skins split open, and winged adults crawl out. Within minutes, they are flying. The air above the river suddenly fills with millions of delicate insects. But this transformation comes with a strange limitation. Adult mayflies cannot eat. Their digestive systems are incomplete. Some species don't even have functional mouths. Their only purpose as adults is reproduction, and they don't have much time. Some mayfly species live less than 24 hours. Others survive only a few hours. During that brief window, they must find a mate. The sky fills with swarms of dancing insects. Predators quickly notice. Birds swoop through the clouds of insects. Fish jump out of the water. Bats join the feast as night approaches. By morning, the ground near rivers is often covered with the bodies of dead mayflies. But if a female survives long enough to mate, she drops her eggs onto the water. Then she dies. A life that lasted years underwater ends in a single day above the surface. Now things are about to get a little disturbing. Meet the Sacculina parasite. Technically, it belongs to the barnacle family. But unlike normal barnacles, this creature has developed one of the strangest survival strategies in the animal kingdom. Its victim is usually a crab. The parasite begins life as a microscopic larva drifting in the ocean. When it encounters a crab, it injects itself into the crab's body, like a biological syringe. Once inside, the parasite spreads thin root-like tendrils throughout the crab's body. These structures absorb nutrients directly from the host. But the parasite does something even more unsettling. It begins to control the crab's behavior. If the host is male, the parasite releases chemicals that alter its hormones. The male crab slowly begins behaving like a female. It stops mating with real females. Instead, it begins caring for the parasite's reproductive sac. The crab protects it, cleans it, and when the parasite's eggs are ready, the crab releases them into the ocean. Exactly the same way a female crab releases her own eggs. The parasite has effectively hijacked the crab's entire nervous system. The crab continues walking, eating, and living its normal life. But it is no longer in control. Eventually, the parasite grows a large external sac under the crab's abdomen, and the host spends the rest of its life serving its hidden master. Now back to mammals, but this time, something much faster. The snowshoe hare. These rabbits live in northern forests where winters are long and harsh. To survive in the snow, they grow thick white fur during winter months. It provides perfect camouflage. From a distance, a white hare sitting in the snow is almost invisible. But this strategy depends on one important factor: snow. In recent decades, the timing of winter snow has been changing. Sometimes snowshoe hares turn white while the forest floor is still brown. Suddenly, their perfect camouflage becomes the opposite: a bright white target in a dark forest. Predators spot them instantly, and there are many predators: foxes, coyotes, wolves, lynxes, owls, hawks. Almost every carnivore in the northern forest hunts snowshoe hares. Because hares reproduce quickly, their populations sometimes grow very large. But that attracts more predators, and eventually the predator population increases as well. Soon the hunters begin catching more hares. The population crashes. Then predator numbers fall again, and the cycle repeats roughly every 10 years. For the snowshoe hare, life is basically a never-ending game of hide and seek, except the seekers are always hungry. Finally, we travel to the darkest parts of the ocean, where sunlight never reaches. Here lives one of the most bizarre animals on Earth: the anglerfish. Female anglerfish already look terrifying. Huge mouths, long needle-like teeth, and a glowing lure that extends from their heads. This lure produces light through bioluminescent bacteria. In the darkness of the deep sea, the glow attracts curious fish. When prey approaches, the anglerfish strikes. Its jaws open incredibly wide, and the victim disappears in a single gulp. But the male anglerfish lives a very different life. He is tiny compared to the female, sometimes more than 20 times smaller. His only purpose is to find a mate in the vast darkness of the deep ocean, which is an almost impossible task. The ocean is enormous, and anglerfish are rare. But if a male eventually finds a female, he bites her, and he never lets go. Over time, his body fuses with hers. His organs slowly shrink and disappear. His eyes degenerate. His digestive system stops working. Eventually, he becomes nothing more than a small appendage attached to the female's body, a living source of sperm. From that moment on, he survives by sharing the female's bloodstream. He is no longer a separate animal, just a permanent biological attachment. So, while nature often looks beautiful from a distance, the reality can be much stranger. Some animals spend their lives digging endless tunnels. Others drift across oceans with no control over where they go. Some live for only a single day, and others lose control of their own bodies entirely. Yet somehow life continues. Evolution keeps experimenting, creating creatures with bizarre strategies and unusual lifestyles. Because in nature, survival doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it just looks strange.